Hi, brothers and sisters. I was just laying there on the couch. I was just watching some TV and started to just speak to the Lord about everything that's going on and trying to prepare myself to be right and because my mind has been really attacked lately, and just repenting and asking forgiveness, and I just said, Lord, if there's just one thing, just to narrow out everything in my mind, if there's just one thing that you could just tell me, that you just want me to know today, just one thing that you just want me to know today, can you just reveal it to me? And I was sitting there, and all of a sudden, the word Tannenbaum came into my mind. And I hadn't even thought about it for so long. I mean, it feels like so long ago. It's only 4 months, but I said that was the very second audible voice word that the Lord ever spoke to me in a dream before I woke up. He spoke to me and he said, Tannenbaum. Now, me being so new, the first one he ever spoke to me was Manasseh access point, which I realized that it's completely nothing what he was trying to tell me, what I first thought it was. But I said Tannenbaum, and I did a whole thing on that, and it's completely nothing what he was trying to tell me. But so I was like, well, what is a Tannenbaum? You know, you always hear that song. It's a fir tree. A Tannenbaum is a fir tree. And so I looked that up here on Strong's Hebrew Concordance. But the word is birash or barash. It's a cypress or a fir tree. The word origin is uncertain. It's a cypress tree, fir tree, juniper. It's also was considered a juniper tree. And in my study, if I remember correctly, the video I did about Heidi or Agnes, one of them translated out to juniper tree, which also, if you took that and translated that, it was to I think it all translated out to like the fault line, the blue star, to fault line, and both of those names. And gosh, why did I just space her name? The lady that saved her people. You guys, I'm totally spacing her name. I just have so much going on in my mind. But, and I never knew that back then. And then the Lord's just like, Tannenbaum. It's a noble tree. It means noble. It's considered a noble tree. Productiveness. building. It was used back then to make buildings for the temples and used to make musical instruments. And when I was gardening with Jesus, I remember that he wanted me to sit down and put pen to the paper, and so I did. And what came out was this just amazing thing. He was speaking to me about resting in his tree, resting in his branches, and not having a care in the world, just staying in his shade and under his branches. And so it just really touched my heart, just how good the Lord is. His ways are, in the midst of the storm, whether it's physical or spiritual or mental, in the midst of whatever storm that is, you have a Tannenbaum, you have a fir tree that you can go rest in. And I just give him all the praise and all the glory. He is just so mighty. And the second thing that he ever spoke to me audibly was Manasseh access point. And remember the study I was doing about birthrights and about Jacob and Esau, and then about the other twins that David came from through Jacob, and how they tied the red ribbon, how the midwife tied the red ribbon around the wrists, but he went back in and the other brother came forth. And birthrights, and how blessings were a big deal back then in the days of Jesus. They were a very big deal. So I just typed this in. Why do we bless our sons to be like Ephraim and Manasseh? I think it was on Shabbat. Yeah, they're just asking like in Jewish. When we bless our son on Shabbat, we ask that he be like Ephraim and Manasseh. Who were they, and why do we wish that our son emulates them? This is a wonderful question. Manasseh and Ephraim were Joseph's two sons that were born to him prior to his father Jacob arriving in Egypt. When Jacob was about to pass away, he called Joseph to his bedside and asked to bless his two sons. Jacob told Joseph that these two boys, his grandsons, are like sons to him. Ephraim and Manasseh shall be mine, like Reuben and Simeon. Thus, unlike all of Jacob's other grandchildren, Manasseh and Ephraim were two independent tribes. On par with their holy uncles, Jacob's sons, they both maintained their own flags, and when the land of Israel was divided amongst the Israelites, they both received independent portions. Jacob then blessed his two grandsons and added the following words: With you, Israel, were blessed, saying, May God make you like Ephraim and like Manasseh. This is why we bless our sons with the words, May God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. So, yeah. And it just goes on. It's kind of like, I don't know. So that was kind of just comforting to me. But if you think about a Tannenbaum, and then I heard the Lord speak and say telecan. It's how Chris gets his Christmas. And telecan is like you get on a computer. It's like broadcasting over a TV or an internet, radio or internet connection, and you're all just working together. We're all trying to just hear the Lord, and watch what he's speaking and trying to tell his people about what's happening in the world, and showing us things that are just remarkable. And sometimes we get like me, I get anxiety sometimes. And I always worry about I always say, Lord, because I know I'm just like filthy rags, but I still, all the time, I worry about if I'm doing enough or if I'm, and it's not about that. And I said, Lord, if there's just one thing